Now, there isn't much clarity when it comes to countries like Russia and North Korea. Their people are controlled, social media is censored, and the leaders stick to their scripts. So in tonight's cover story, you will hear the word reportedly a lot of times. What we can tell you is that the North Korean leader Kim Jong-Un and Russian President Vladimir Putin are going to sit down in Russia. The place is not certain, the agenda is not certain, and all of this is making the West very uncertain. In the next 3 minutes, we will tell you what a meeting like this means for the two countries and for the world. Both leaders are meeting probably in Vladivostok, a port city not far from North Korea. Kim boarded his armored train that rattles at about 50 kilometers per hour. For context, a train's average speed is about 150 kilometers per hour. This is due to its heavy armored protection for a bulletproof security cover. However, at this point, we want to clarify that reportedly the meeting will take place in Vladivostok. We are not sure. And this is where the two leaders met the last time in 2019. Now, one thing is clear. The war in Ukraine has forced the Kremlin to reassess its relationship with Pyongyang. There are talks of North Korea providing arms to Russia. The catalogue is expected to have artillery shells and anti-tank missiles. This can have implications for the war in Ukraine, you see. But it remains to be seen to what extent. Apart from this, boosting military ties and joint drills could also be part of the talks. So a big question to ask here is what's in it for North Korea? You see, for decades now, Pyongyang has been starved under sanctions, so it desperately needs money and food. Military and humanitarian support from Russia could also be part of the demands. But experts say that the most worrying request could be about nuclear weapons. North Korea is still struggling to master key strategic weapons. So Kim could ask Putin for the advanced technology. Now, Russia has showed apprehensions about this in the past. However, it remains to be seen if the war in Ukraine has pushed Russia to this level of desperation. There is something for both the countries, but it will be naive to see the external factors. Russia and North Korea have been isolated by the West. Both countries have been termed quote-unquote hostile, and there are attempts of completely cutting them off. Moscow and Pyongyang are perfect examples of enemy's enemy is your friend. So is the West worried about this meeting? Well, some experts say that North Korea's power is very one-dimensional. It only caters to arms and the defense sector, but completely lacks in trade and economy. Other critics say that this is where Russia's role comes in. It's crucial because one of the first demands by Kim will be on reviving North Korea's economy. There is also a China angle here because in diplomacy there's always more than what meets the eye. It is important that Russia is Kim Jong-un's first foreign visit since the pandemic. Beijing is Pyongyang's only treaty ally and the main economic partner. Experts say that Kim might be looking to balance the two major powers on his borders against each other. Now, not long ago, Kim's grandfather founded the North with backing from the Soviet Union. And now, Kim Jong-un is returning the favor by backing Russia on the global stage. Now, to give us more insights, we are being joined by Dr. Sergei Markov from Moscow. He's the former spokesperson for the Russian President Vladimir Putin, a former member of the Russian Parliament, and a director, he's the director of the Institute of Political Studies and Russian political scientist. Welcome to the broadcast, sir.
Thank you. Hello.
Now, this meeting, I want to ask you this. Is it just out of strategic interests, or do you see West playing a catalyst here?
West very much afraid because of few reasons. Because West regarded both Russia and North Korea as their enemy, and we're afraid that cooperation between Russia and North Korea can make both countries more strong and successful. Specifically, what is on the table of two leaders is more or less clear. First of all, it's lifting of Russian sanctions against North Korea. Russia took part in those sanction regime, which because it was a decision of United Nations, with goal to stop North Korea nuclear and rocket missiles development. But it's clear that this sanction failed because North Korea have now very much developed nuclear potential and rocket missiles potential. So it's first. Second, war in Ukraine shows that army need shells, maybe dozens times more than it was expected. But North Korea has great reserve of such shells, and it can give millions of shells to the Russian army for fighting against United States puppet, which is Ukrainian regime. And second, and another direction is possibility of North Korean workers to take part in reconstruction of new Russian territories and also generating Russian economy. Because Russia now has economic boom, and Russian economy now needs a lot of workers. And North Korean workers, if they will be used by Russian economy, could give very good profit both to Russian economy and to the North Korean government and people. So it's what Russian can get from North Korea. And of course, Western countries very much afraid that Russian army will get additionally millions of shells and will put fire to the proxy army of the NATO, which is Ukrainian puppet army.
Right. Yes. I'm sorry to interject, but you said that Russia clearly wants to lift its sanctions against North Korea. But if anything, North Korea has become even more aggressive with its nuclear policy. So why is there a change of heart by Vladimir Putin?
Because there are a few reasons. First of all, as already mentioned, sanction doesn't work. Reason of sanction was to stop nuclear status of North Korea, but it already exists. As by the way, first of all, a lot of countries was against nuclear status of India and of Pakistan. But after India and Pakistan got this nuclear status, any words about sanctions against India and Pakistan go away. It's a first reason. And second reason, North Korea recognized that new territories for regions of former Ukraine join Russia, and North Korea recognizes this action as legitimate. So it's reasonable. And also, country need to cooperate. Also, Russia can give a lot of agricultural products to the North Korea because agricultural sector of North Korea economy not so much effective, because not so much efficient because it's more governmental and didn't use market reasons for producing.
Absolutely. Dr. Markov, let's bring in China here. China is North Korea's only economic partner. And now we are seeing, of course, the relationship reviving of sorts between Russia and North Korea. I want to ask you, in case we see a trilateral club forming in the future, do you think that should concern the West?
This, of course, also may concern of West, but North Korea probably could be not so much the country which will put China and Russia close to each other, but maybe probably it can create some problems for relations between Russia and China. Because if Russia wants North Korea to take more intensive role in fighting against United States America and American European imperialism and neocolonialism and so on, China more reluctant to the conflict with United States and European Union. China understands that its conflict with United States is inevitable, But nevertheless, China tried to minimize intensity of such conflict between China and America. That's why China could be maybe not too much optimistic about a more strong military cooperation between Russia and North Korea.
All right, Mr. Markov, thank you for joining us from Moscow and getting us all those very interesting insights.
Thank you.